week has gone by, and Katie and I are going to present to you this week's menu. We're quite excited. It is a seafood menu. It's shrimp linguine, cooked in a butter garlic sauce, and again using the cast iron frying pan that we used last week. We're going to go through the ingredients real quick. Shrimp. This one we bought at Walmart, unfortunately. Don't be fooled. It is 12 ounces of shrimp, not 16. You would expect it to be a pound. It is not. You should also be aware that if you go into your fresh seafood section and buy your shrimp by the pound there, chances are it is already pre-frozen, and then they thawed it and are selling it to you already as already been frozen once. So be careful never to take it out of their case and put it back in your freezer. Otherwise it will get soft and loses texture. So again, usually it is pre-frozen before they put it in their case. So 12 ounces linguine. This feeds 8, so I'm going to use half a box. I'm going to use 1 whole stick of butter. I'm going to use bread. This happens to be Italian bread for $1. I bought it at Walmart again. It's Italian bread. We're going to use this for garlic bread. Garlic, which we talked about. White wine that we're going to use, along with the butter for the liquid that's going in it. You can use regular wine if you want. Probably come out better. Dill, one of my favorite ingredients. We're going to use a lot of dill. And for dessert, we're going to have Hershey's chocolate pudding with bananas and whipped cream on top. So that's what we're having for a menu. It is $10.27. It will feed a family of 4, and it is a seafood dinner. And it should be done in about 10 minutes. Give me a break. I'll get the kitchen set up. Okay, here we go in our large industrial kitchen, in other words, our small little RV kitchen, 3-burner stove. Katie in the background supervising, as she always does. The only prep work I've done is I started the water a few minutes ago. It's hard to do a 10-minute dinner when it takes 8 minutes or 10 minutes for the water to heat up, so that's already preheated. And let me tell you about the shrimp. The shrimp is already, it's frozen. You need to defrost it slowly. I put it in a colander about 2 hours ago, let it air thaw. It is coated in water when they freeze it, so you really want the water to get dripped off. You don't want to put it in, watering it down your main course and watering your butter and your garlic sauce down. So that's been dried. It's been sitting there for a couple hours, thawed. It's ready to go. Garlic is ready, sauce is ready. First thing you need to work on is garlic press. I don't know if you ever used one. It's hard to live without a garlic press. Garlic press, old Galloping Gourmet used to take a clove of garlic and throw it on a table, take a big butcher knife and smack it with the butcher knife. Actually laid a butcher knife on top of it, smack it hard with your fists, and lo and behold, it used to crush the garlic. I do mine an old-fashioned way. I take a garlic press, has a squeezer on it, and you're just going to take a knife and you're going to go like this, and you're going to go like that, and that's your garlic. You can take a couple more cloves that you've already got ready. You're going to do the same thing. Now, this being a cast iron, you got to keep it real low. I got the cast iron hot. I turned it down. Otherwise, the garlic will burn. I actually pulled it off. It's a little too hot. I pulled it off to let it cool down some while I'm squeezing the garlic. A couple more cloves. I'm using a lot of garlic, and you'll see why later. Basically, I'm going to use it for garlic bread also. Again, double duty. You can buy garlic bread, but it's expensive. The ingredients are brutal on it. I mean, there's more ingredients on garlic bread than I can interpret. So, that's it. The garlic's in. Stirring it. Got my little handle. Okay. I'm adding the rest of the butter. Remember, I said it's going to be a full stick of butter. I only put a little bit of butter in at the beginning to get the garlic fried up. Now that it is fried up, I'm going to put the rest of the garlic in it. And Let it go and keep stirring. You don't want the garlic to burn. It's lightly browned, the garlic in my case. That's the way I like it. You might want to keep yours from browning it altogether. It's up to you. Again, I got my cast iron down real low at this point. She's got a lot of heat in it. And I'm going to take my toaster oven. I'm going to take my top off. And as I said, the water is boiling at this point. You're going to take your salt. And any good chef knows you have to use a large amount of salt. Why, I'm not sure, but I've watched the videos, and first thing the chef does is go over and go, not salty enough. I'm sure there's a good reason. If you know what it is, comment me down below. I'd like to be enlightened. Again, I got no idea. I'm using half the box of linguine. I like linguine. It's a little bit thicker than regular noodles, so it holds the sauce a little better. I break it once so it fits in the pot nice. Spread it out. Get the tongs out. Should take about 8 minutes. Put the top back on, slightly tipped, so it doesn't burn over or boil over. At that point, I'm going to take my bread, grab up some slices. Here it is, the whisk, not the whisk, so this is what you can do. This is why you did the extra garlic bread, the extra garlic in the butter, because you're going to be making garlic bread out of it. You see, it's just nice garlic bread, and throw it in the toaster. Why pay a couple dollars? It's not actually the money you're saving, but when you buy the garlic bread, you're going to, what are you going to do with the whole loaf? You end up eating it. And here I'm going to do 4 slices, which is really what we should be eating. So if you cook smartly, you'll also be saving some calories also. Same with the pasta. It's so easy to dump the entire pound in. When you dump the pound in, that's for 8 people. A little bit on the excessive side. So again, got 4 pieces of toast in. Off we go. The toast is being made. The water is being boiling. The garlic we're going to put in almost just before we eat it. Not the garlic, the shrimp. Shrimp cooks very quick, and overcooked shrimp is not tasty. It's leathery. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my to cool this down a little bit. I'm going to take my cooking wine, and it was a cup of butter. I'm going to put a cup of cooking wine in it. Almost perfect. That'll cool that down a little bit. Again, trouble sometimes with doing it in 10 minutes is not that you rush a little, but you might have run a little slower than that. So right now, that's got the 2 liquids in it. Next thing you're going to add in it is a lot of dill. I'm talking a lot of dill. Now usually when I go and use dill, I go to there in Gatlinburg. There's a in one of the back alleys opposite the aquarium. There's a tea and spice store. I usually get my dill from them, but I ran out, and we just got back in. We haven't been back to the spice store yet, so it's one of the things I got to do. So again, I'm going to use a lot of dill, probably about 2 tablespoons. At least 1 tablespoon. Let's say 1 tablespoon. It's hard to tell on a little flake, but the dill is your bulk of your flavor is going to come out of the dill in itself. Now on to dessert. Our bowl. I spent 32 extra cents, and I got the Hershey's instead of the store brand. I had it in my budget, and I figured that we're going to go for it tonight. This is shrimp after all. So I'm going to put the package in, like we did the last night. 2 cups of milk. whisk. And like I said, I just use whisks a lot. Trouble is, when you use a whisk, is that you really got to make sure you do a good job at it. Otherwise, it gets some solids and gets a little wonky. Is that a good word? Wonky. So here we go. Again, we're going to do the same thing we did last week. We're going to take it, we're going to throw it right in the fridge till it sets. Then we're going to portion it out after it sets, slice some bananas on top, and put a little whipped cream. In the fridge it is. So here I could tell we're about the 10-minute mark, but I talked for 4, so we're about 6 minutes in. Let me get everything in. I'm going to put it on a pause while I start cleaning up and getting ready for the next effort. Okay, I got the milk and the butter and stuff put away at this point. Right now the pasta's about 2 minutes from being done. As you can see, the garlic bread is done. Again, this is real Italian bread. I can use the rest of the loaf for lunches, sandwiches, or if one of my other meals is just needs a little bit of buttered bread on the side, I've got it. At this point, we're almost ready to go. Again, I want to remind you the shrimp is usually previously frozen unless it says explicitly fresh caught. Most of the seafood in a seafood department is frozen. There's been many cases where I've gone to buy shrimp and he said, go get me a couple bags out of the freezer, and I watched him dump it into the display case. Nothing wrong with that, but you might as well just buy it frozen at that point. And there is wild caught frozen at Walmart that is about $1 more. I might have chosen it, but I wanted to stay at my $10 range. And again, it'd be wild Gulf instead of farm raised out of probably Thailand or Indonesia someplace. So here we go. We got the temperature up on it. The garlic bread is done. The noodles are all done. I'll show you how to cook this up quick, then I'll pause it while I plate it up. Getting the temperature back up. In it goes. Remember I said about cast iron that it's slow to heat up, but once it heats up, it is brutally fast at burning something. So I'd rather run it a little on the slow side and get her up to temperature. Now, shrimp itself is white, unless it's the tiger shrimp, which is a little pink. What you're going to do is you're going to see a piece of shrimp like this. It's limp. It is in a half circle. What you're going to do is very carefully going to keep an eye on it. Once she starts pinking, you're going to make sure you get her flipped over, and you're going to take her off long before she curls up into a tight ball. If she curls up into a tight ball, you've cooked it way too far. Shrimp should still be soft on the inside, not hard and rubbery. Secondly is I never buy pre-cooked shrimp for anything. I mean, they've already then cooked it halfway. It's only going to take a minute or two to cook it here. Why take shrimp that they've already cooked halfway and then already did have to pre-cook in for you. So here we go, we're cooking it. It's starting to smell very good, by the way. That basil is nice. The garlic is phenomenal. Yep, phenomenal. I gotta watch that word. I've been told I use it way too much. And here we go. So this particular meal we're doing shrimp. It does serve 4, which will give about 3 ounces per person. 2 ounces of pasta, a slice of bread. You can easily give them a second slice of bread. To be honest, only 2 of us are eating this, so we're actually going to take 2 slices anyways, and we're only going to eat half the pasta in itself, but I just want to prove that it can be done. Next week we have a guest junior ranger coming over, and I think we're going to do crock-pot chicken, which again will take 10 minutes to prep, but it'll be about 6 hours for cooking it. But there's many meals I'm going to be doing, both this and on the Dutch oven, which I'll be doing outside, like stews and what, that'll be 10 minutes in prep and then you walk away. It's the meal that you have to work that day. You want to come home and have it done. And here we go. Let me get a fork. And as you can see, this is just turning pink at this point, a little bit white on the bottom. You're going to grab it long before she turns deep pink. Just make sure you keep flipping her over because the side face down will cook, the side face up won't. And she'll cook rather quick, within 2 minutes tops, probably a minute. And again, she's done. I'm going to pull her off quick into a bowl, and the reason I'm doing that is, again, it is a crock pot, not a crock, but a cast iron, and that cast iron will cook this thing till it's rubber. So if you want to see what it looks like, hopefully you're going to see the smoke, you're going to see the shrimp, not really in a tight ball yet, just slightly curled. I'm going to pour it off into a bowl, again, to keep it from cooking. The cast iron will just keep burning away at it, and I don't want that to happen. That's that. I'm just going to use hot water, and I do use doobies. Doobies are like this, to rinse it. And then when I'm done with it, I keep Crisco. Some people use oil, vegetable oil. I happen to use Crisco, which is vegetable, but it's a fat, versus vat is a solid. And what I'll do is, after I use hot water, wash it off, I'll recoat it with a layer of Crisco, put it right in the back of the oven and let it sit. And you'll see it next time I use it, it'll look just as good as it looked this time. So let me plate this up and get back to you in a second. Well, here we go, dinner for 4. As you can see, it's a good portion. It's 2 ounces, I believe, of pasta, 3 ounces of shrimp. You got your piece of garlic bread. You can see your nice garlic basil on top. Your dessert is your pudding with your bananas and cream. So you have your seafood, you have cheese, which we're going to put on it. So you have your dairy. You also have the dairy with the cream. You have fruit with the bananas, and you've got sugar. Not much about pudding, but sugar, I guess, is a good one. Outside of that, it's a pretty balanced meal. It did run $10.20. Took a little over 10 minutes, give or take. And again, the only thing to be careful of is don't overcook your pasta. Remember to rinse the noodles out after they're cooked. It takes the starches out of it. Remember not to overcook your shrimp. You notice these are just barely touching each other, so they're not overcooked. And bon appetit. Hughes from Outdoor Staycation and Katie, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and look forward to seeing you on our next cooking video. Safe journeys.